Reviews. Hello, welcome to this lecture on what is open source technology. This lecture is basically a part of a series of lectures on how to set up a learning management system. In case you have missed my first video on learning management systems, I request you to please listen to it. So, when we attended our previous lecture on learning management systems, I had defined some attributes of a learning management system platform. In that it should be interactive, scalable, and vendor independent. So these two last terms, scalable and vendor independent. So these are largely satisfied if the technology that you adopt happens to be open source. So what is this open source technology? In the next few slides, we will just have a look and feel of what this term means. Okay, so here is a big banner before you. It says free. So what's your first impression when you hear the word free? I want you to just list it out. I just pause for a few seconds. Okay. Generally, the impression that people get from the word free is that, something's unreliable. It's being given off for free because it's not really worth to sell it off. So I would just request you to reconsider this first impression that we have when we hear this word free. Because the best things in nature are actually free. So just to drive home this point, here's one more example. You have on the left here, you have a water purifier. And on the left you have a water purifier. And this water purifier, as you can see, we buy it in our homes, and it does cost a lot of money. On the right, I have an image of a forest with water flowing through it. And today science says that every one of our forests, especially dense, thick forests like these, are responsible for purifying billions of liters of water for free. So that's the power of nature. And if something's free, it's not necessarily bad. It could be something really, really valuable. That's just the point that I was trying to drive. And I'll now elaborate on what this means in the context of learning management systems or software. So the first thing is that the internet that all of us use is essentially free. And this person, Sir Tim Berners-Lee, was the person who invented the World Wide Web. And the World Wide Web or the internet is essentially free. It's a set of rules that everybody plays by, and that leads to the creation of this wonderful thing, all this information available for free. And just imagine if Reliance had one protocol or one set of communications for World Wide Web, Facebook had another, and Google had one more platform. Then perhaps such an open exchange of ideas and information would not be possible. Okay, so this image that you see on the left is of the Linux operating system. Some of you may have heard of it, used it. It's not very popular for daily use. But the fact is that it is an operating system that everyone trusts. When you use your online banking transactions, when you visit a website, when you use your Android phone, all these systems are running on one of the derivatives of Linux. And the person on the right, Linus Torvalds, is a person who wrote the code for Linux as a college student. And he gave it off to the world for free. So, free things need not be really bad. They could be things that are really powerful and really, really trustworthy and solid, rock solid. So the advantage of open source is that basically what it means in technical terms is that somebody writes the code for a particular software, and that code is available for everybody to work on. So if I have written a software code, then hundreds of volunteers across the world can work on to improve that code. Now, more minds are always better than one, and so it typically should lead to a better effort, provided the coordination issues are taken care of. Anybody is free to modify it, anybody is free to customize it to their own needs. So what happens is that about 10-15 years back, Steve Ballmer, who was the CEO of Microsoft, he said that Linux is a cancer and we need to eradicate it. And today, Microsoft itself is embracing Linux in a big way. It's incorporated into their Azure platform. And that's the power of something that the entire world is working on. So in the context of learning management systems, if we have a software which is open source, the benefit is that a lot of people are working on it. So it's really rock solid, secure and strong. And because people are free to modify it, there may be multiple variants available. So you could use one of these variants to suit your needs. Or better still, if you are qualified enough, you could modify the software itself to suit your own customized needs. And open source is not a term which is limited just to software. It's also being used to develop open source hardware. Like there is something called an Arduino board, which is used for programming microcontrollers. We are all used to Siemens programmable logic controllers, which are proprietary to Siemens. But gradually in the world of electronics also, a thing called an Arduino board is coming up in a big way. It's currently used for small projects and hobbyist projects mostly, but it's quite rugged, and all the circuit diagrams, all the things used in it, the code used to program it, everything is available out in the open. So here are some of the examples of open source technology. Here in this series of lectures, we'll be talking a lot about Moodle. So there's the Moodle logo on the left. We have on the right two logos. One is called MySQL, which is used for databases. There is a software called QUCS, or the Quiet Universal Circuit Simulator, which is used for circuit simulations. Here's one more example. A lot of you would have grown up thinking that CAD packages are really expensive and difficult to buy. And this is an example of an image that I got from the internet of a drawing which has been made on FreeCAD, which is a free open source computer aided drafting program. So for developing a learning management system, our weapons that we're going to use are the Moodle open source learning management system, and we are going to patch it up with another software called the Big Blue Button, which is an open source online web conferencing platform which is optimized for online learning or virtual classrooms. So if we dig in a little deeper, so what does it take to build this website with these two technologies, Moodle and Big Blue Button? First, you need something called a web server. So the software here is Apache, which is again a free software. It receives and processes web requests, and that's what makes a web page possible. Then you have PHP, which is used to make the front end of the web pages. Just say if you were to visit a web page, then you find a lot of forms, you find images, all this, how it's displayed, how it interacts with you, that's done with the help of this programming language. Then we have something called MySQL, which basically is the database where you store the data. So these are our main weapons here in this quest to set up a learning management system platform.